This is a Mars Hydro TS600. It's one of the sort of older models. I've had it for, I think, like 4 or 5 years now. It's working pretty good, except for I have an issue with it flickering. It's apparently a very common issue. So anyways, this model comes with a controller that you can control the brightness of the light, which is pretty important. Otherwise, you have to keep changing the height. And in my setup, that's not really efficient because I have it kind of in a fixed position. So for my setup, I really need the dimmer to work. So the way this light works is there's an on-off switch at the front. So if you press that, it turns off, or it won't do it right now because I have the button in the back off as well. So the button in the back controls the dimmer. Once I flip, right now the dimmer's not working, right? I have it in the off position. So if I kind of flip this back and forth, no dimming is happening. If I turn this on in the back, now all of a sudden I have the dimmer function, and right away you could see it's like flickering. You can see like I move it around. A lot of the times it's just not even, I'm not even touching it, and it starts flickering. And then now that that's on, and if I turn it off here, the whole light will turn off. But anyways, so the dimmer works. It just that certain brightnesses, it flickers a lot. It also, I don't think, is reaching the full brightness. Like, it's at max right now, but when you turn it off, it's a tiny bit lighter. So, of course, you can kind of see it flickering. It's hard to see it on camera. So, you can see when I shake this a little bit, it starts flickering. If you turn this off, again, if you turn off the dimmer and then you shake it and it doesn't dim, that means it's actually your dimmer that's the problem. So this is defective now. The way these work is there's like two metal contacts, and if for whatever reason those contacts worn out from repeated use, or if you're in kind of environment like this where there's a lot of humidity, it could also affect it. So again, the dimmer right now is turned off, and there is no flickering at all. No matter what I do, there's no flickering. So I know the issue's not from the wire or from the power supply. So that's how you isolate it. So if that is your situation, then you know you have to replace this part. These are super cheap. I think I paid 80 cents. It was like $4 for 5 pieces off of AliExpress. So anyways, turn it back on, and you'll see right away it starts flickering. So first thing I got to do is obviously turn off the power. So now I fully unplugged it from the back. Can even put this in the off position and turn the back one in the off position. It doesn't really matter because there's absolutely no power. I unplugged it from the wall. So first thing I got to do is take this apart. I've already taken it apart once just to check which part I need to purchase. So this, it wasn't hard the first time, but you know, it'll come out easier the second time. I just drop that screw. I try not to lose the screws here. There we go. So this comes off pretty easy. You just gotta kind of, pretty simple. So that's what it looks like on the inside. To take off the potentiometer, that's what this is called. You got to kind of just pull. It's a little tight. The first time was a little bit harder. Now the second time it comes off a little bit easier. And then over here there's a little nut. Again, I hand tightened it back when I took it off the first time, but if it's tight, you have to use sort of one of these tools to untighten it, or a wrench, or any other type like a socket or something. So once you kind of unscrew this, it comes off right away. And you can see here it says B500K. That's the ohms. The B stands for linear something. Basically, it just provides power on a linear basis. So it's like, you know, for a dimming function. If it says A in it, you have the wrong one. It has to say B, and then specifically 500K. You cannot use any other number, it just won't work. So here are my replacements that I purchased. I think they're like almost identical. So again, these are B500K, and I got one specifically that have these bent sort of feet or connectors. So they're not the exact same model because you can see some slight differences here. I actually might have some issues with lining it up, but I'm just gonna have to like kind of bend it a little bit to make it work. But anyways, first thing I'm gonna do is essentially remove the old piece. So I gotta get a soldering iron and kind of loosen these. So I just plugged in the soldering iron. I have it set currently to 550 degrees. I also have this sort of copper, this is like a solder removal type thing. It essentially just kind of wicks the solder off. So it's way easier to do this if you have it disconnected. In my setup, it's going to be really difficult, or it's going to take a lot of time for me to actually disconnect everything because it's so integrated here. So I'm going to try to do this without having to remove it. So this is flux. It's a type of sort of paste that helps get this stuff off. Let's see if that works. Try this again. Might have even have been something that's actually required. I'm going to turn up the temperature a little bit again. I'm going to go to 620. Let's see if that helps things. You can see right away things are already happening. Oh, now it took it off. Seems like it might be burning a bit, so I'm actually going to turn it down back to 600. I don't know if it's because of the flux on there or it just got really hot. Oh yeah, so you basically need flux for this to work. I didn't realize. It's really my first time using this copper stuff, so copper actually gets pretty hot as well. So I took quite a bit off. Let's see if that did anything. Nope, it's still on there pretty tightly. I think it's this one still has some. Let me add a little bit more flux and try this again. Try not to get my hands dirty, but to start with this side just because it needs the most. Oh yeah, that already looks much cleaner. Oops, I lost contact with one arm. I'm not really seeing any solder left, except actually on this one there's still a little bit. Let's see if that worked. Still not working. I wonder why. Yeah, there still seems to be some solder on here. Let me try it like this, try to see. Yeah, there's still solder on here. It really should not be this hard. Let's try again. It's probably because I have, again, I'm not in a really good position. Let's try to get these arms back on. They actually really help. Okay, let's try this again. Probably just taken this long because of lack of experience. Okay, they look much cleaner now. There's a tiny bit of solder right here. I'll try to take off. Okay, perfect, that came off. And there's a tiny bit over here left. It really helps to have this on a stable surface where you can put pressure. see if that worked. Oh, there we go. We got 2 pins out. Alright, there we go. So that's what it looks like. Again, this is B500K. Interestingly enough, there is a difference. The newer one I bought seems to be a little bit bigger. So anyways, I'm going to have to find a way to fit this on properly. I'll just drop that. So let's see how this will fit on. So it's good. I'm just going to fit it from the back first, just to kind of see if the holes line up. That's easier. Yeah, so the holes line up. The issue, let's see. I'm just going to mock this up first before I start doing anything, like soldering it on, because clearly when I want to solder it off, it's not easy. I guess once I figured out how to do it, it got easy. So I know I'm putting it backwards. I just want to do it like this, just so that I can see how this will work. Of course, I have my zip tie in there now. I can't even put it through the hole. And also, it doesn't actually matter to have it on backwards like this. So, yeah, I feel like that'll work. Issue with this one is there's 2 sort of things sticking out here. I'm just going to bend these down. They're not needed. I'm not even sure what they're for. They might be mounting brackets. They might be for the on-off switch, because this one has an on-off switch, like you hear it clicks. So they're either for that or they're mounting brackets. I'm just going to bend them down. I'm not going to be using them. So it's just go. So that's on pretty good. Just clean the soldering iron very quickly. Put it away. So that's it for that. Alright, well, that was not bad. I do gotta clean this because you're not supposed to keep the flux on here. So give it a quick spray of alcohol. Not bad. Has a good connection, won't come off. Alright. So now before I assemble it and put it all together, I am going to test it. So I'm just going to put it in here like that, how I normally would. And then I'm going to knob on. I don't know if I would get electrocuted or not. So that seems like the off position. Alright. So I'm going to go put the power back on and we'll see if it works. So right now it's in the off, the potentiometer is in the off position. Now if it starts flickering again, then the issue actually wasn't the potentiometer and it was the chip probably, but let's see. So it's actually not working. Oh, hold on, I did the wrong switch. It's actually this switch. That really tripped me out. Let's try it again. Okay. Beautiful. Ooh, it has never been this smooth, even when I first bought it. I feel like it might have been defective from the start. Or maybe not, I don't know, but this is the smoothest it's ever been in terms of brightness. And like you can really, before it was like it would jump, it wouldn't like go this smoothly, it would always start flickering. Again, I'll shake it. No flickering at all. So problem is solved. Alright, so now that I've done that, I can unplug the power again. Disconnect this. And then I can assemble it properly. So again, I'll take this off. There was a washer in here, so let me put that back in. Let that washer go. There it is. So the way this kind of was assembled previously, there's a washer in here. Goes in like that, and then this thing goes in. Just want to get that out of the way. This as flush as possible. I just realized, I guess, the way I turn it might impact the minimum or maximum. Anyways, I'll test it right now. Like, what I'm trying to say is it might have had to be in a certain way. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I don't really care. But I'll test it anyways. So I'm just going to tighten it out with the tool. Doesn't need much, that was probably more than enough. Alright. So this is the off position, so I'm going to put this thing on like that. Okay. So that is good. So one more time, just going to test it. I'm just more curious to see if the orientation is correct. So again, it's like, there's no on-off, that's fine. Turn like this. Oh wait, of course it's not on again. Okay, perfect. On minimum, it's really low, even when it clicks. It's maximum. Alright, so we're good. So I'm good to fully assemble it now. going to temporarily put some tape over those holes. Just kind of like a nicer something like that. I will put something more permanent looking. If I was gonna make it look this ugly, I could have done a way cheaper looking fix. That should be good right there. I really should turn it off again before I do this, but it's fine. I would be very, I'm not gonna touch anything. Like that. All I'm doing is really just putting on the cover. What's going on? What is going on? Oh, there we go. For a second there, I thought there was something else. I'm gonna have to try to find that screw that fell, but one screw should hold it just fine. Alright, and that's it. Fully fixed. Now if I was using these channels, these are just to connect additional lights, which I don't know why you would do with like a light like this. You just get a bigger, more powerful light than just putting two of these. But anyways, if I was doing that, I'd have to figure out a different way. I'd probably have to buy a better or a thinner potentiometer, kind of like this one. So you can see just a few millimeters. But that's it. So happy now. I can finally do the brightness, and again I'll do another shake test. No issues at all. And you can kind of, it's very responsive, feels very good, and it was never dimming this low before. All right. So that's it.